Michelle plays Autoharp. Uh, I first encountered an Autoharp when I was in middle school, and it is a remarkable instrument. I was very intimidated by it. It is there's not very much automatic about the Autoharp, it seems. um, so Michelle has a master's in music from Florida State University and a master's in speech language pathology from UNM here. And she combines those skills and does singing voice therapy for singers recovering from vocal health problems. I actually know several people who have recovered from problems like that. So you're doing great work. Thank you. She's also our jam manager for the Albuquerque Folk Festival. And you should go check out jams after her workshop. Yeah. Let's unmute you here and let's get Michelle front and center.
Okay, I was additionally layered on for muting. So let's see. So we're all good now, right? I have a pop-up window here that says unmute myself, and I already did.
Then I'd say
Um,
just close that and then let's go. Because I can
okay,
hear you.
okay, there we go.
Excellent.
Hey, this is an auto harp. Lewis is quite right. It's neither automatic nor a harp. It is a corded zither. The interesting thing, well, that's one of the many interesting things about the auto harp. The auto harp is a very flawed instrument. It was originally intended to be easy to play back when people didn't have CD players and we had to make our own entertainment. Invented by a German, that patent was stolen by an American. You know how we are here in this country. Originally played on tabletops, and then even a little bit at the beginning played upright, but more and more played upright. So you're going to usually see these played upright. Mine is people have them a little bit more upright than the way I have them. This auto harp is a luthier built auto harp. You may notice it looks backwards from other auto harps you may have seen. Oh, I see at least, oh, I see some auto harps. Awesome. Because this is a left-handed auto harp. It is also 3/4 size because it is a sparrow harp. You see the sparrow. The sparrow harp was originally created to be an educational instrument for children. And the original sparrow harps didn't necessarily stay in tune so well. But those of you who are already in auto harp land and have heard of people like Pete Daigle, DaigleHarp.com, that's where I got this, he redesigned it so it'll stay in tune and can be used as an actual professional instrument. Now, oftentimes when people take this class, and I'm looking, oh, okay, a lot of people have their video off. Not everybody has ever even used an auto harp. Not everybody has one. I am going to add my website to the chat. There's not going to be any information for you today, but if you check it out tomorrow, I'm going to put up some information for you and some links and websites, and you can also do a Google search. Alrighty, so let's talk about the auto harp briefly. They usually have about 37 strings. This is the bass. This is the treble. You will notice I have very little playing room at the top. That is because this is a 21 chord harp. This is a 21 chord chromatic auto harp, which means I can play chromatic music, not just diatonic. Sorry, I just had to do that. Diatonic harps have doubled strings and they're beautiful, but you can't play just anything on them. Chromatic harps give you a little bit more freedom. You will also notice that there's some silliness going on here. I have color-coded my buttons. There are also labels on the side so that I can kind of look down and see where I am if I'm playing something that has a complicated chord progression. So I want to show you something. This is a chord bar. The way the auto harp works is you press down your chord bar and it damps the things that you don't want. And you see these little spaces? That's where the strings are that you do want will ring through. This happens to be an A suspended 4 that I took off this harp to make room for something else. You don't have endless real estate, and you can't play any notes that aren't in your chord. Oh. Before you cut your chords, and you can have this done for you, they look like this. This would damp everything, so I wouldn't suggest playing with it, but that's what it looks like before you start cutting into it. What else do we need for auto harps? We need picks. So this is a thumb pick. This happens to be a perfect touch. And you'll see that it's the business end is plastic. I think it's Delrin. Please don't try to play an auto harp with a metal thumb pick like you might be able to play a banjo. Don't do that. You can use metal picks for your fingers, but please don't try to do that with your thumb. You will be sorry. I'm going to put the rest of my picks on. I have tried so many different kind of picks. Try lots of different picks. Try metal, try plastic. These are Delrin. I really like these. I had to put Band-Aids inside them to make them small enough for me, but you know, that way they don't go anywhere. And I really like the beautiful mellow sound. So you need picks, you need an auto harp, and you need to know a little bit about your chords. Now, if you play auto harp, you may have heard of the Brian Bowers layout. Nothing comes out of the factory that way, and of course, it's not a factory auto harp. But it's a good layout for most of us because it's very quick for us to transpose songs and to find what we need and to finger things the same way. Although I'm going to tell you how to finger stuff and then you'll see I'm not really following my own directions sometimes. Okay, so the middle row of my auto harp has major chords. So this particular auto harp is a little bit optimized towards folk keys so I can play with my friends. So, and then as I get to the edge of my harp, I start having weird things. So we'll talk about that in a second. At the bottom, I have my minors. These are the relative minors directly underneath the major above them. Or if you want to think of this as being the top, I guess I said that backwards. Those are the relative minors of the major right above it. And then we have some color chords on the top. You're not going to hear about color chords with probably any other instrument. That's what we call our non-majors and minors in auto harp world. So I have a couple of regular sevenths. I have one suspended fourth that I use, and I pretend that it is actually other suspended fourths. It really resolves to D, but I use it for other stuff. I have some extended keys so I can play in more keys. So I happen to have an F sharp 7 because I don't need to play it without the 7th up here. I have some things on the end that I keep changing because I keep changing my mind what chords I need. And way over here I have a B flat that I like to have for my F. Because again, you got to make choices. The way many people solve this is they buy lots of auto harps. So get ready to do that because really that is the only solution, is to have more than one auto harp. Alrighty. Let's see. Please feel free if you have a comment or a question. I think that chat is enabled. I'd like it to be, if that's possible. If you want to make a comment or ask a question while we're here, you don't have to if you don't want to. Alrighty. Now I would like to share screen with you in order to demonstrate some of what I think is the most awesome, some of the things I think are the most awesome things about auto harps. The auto harp is a magnificent educational instrument because if you lay it out the way I briefly explained, you can learn basic music theory with it, and I wish I'd had this when I was a kid. Wherever I put, now you got to be mean to your songs because the tonic, the key that you're in, you're going to use your middle finger for it. Sorry. So you can always remember that you're going to be mean to the key you're playing in. Your middle finger is in the middle on your tonic key. Your index finger is on 4, and the subdominant and the ring finger is on the dominant. Don't panic if you don't know these terms. I am going to highlight some stuff. So the reason we chose home on the range is because we're going to learn this super quickly by thinking about where our home is. Middle finger is always at home, okay? Our home key. These are the members of the key if you need it, but you know what? What difference does it make? Because you cannot play a wrong note, even if you try. So, 3 chords are all you need to play a lot of songs. I highly recommend you start out with 3 chords. You'll see here, I've got the 3 chords I'm going to play home in the range, and then I've got some other chords, some of our color chords and our minors that we can use to extend our song. Don't worry about this too much. I'm going to put it, like I said, on my website. We have to go fast because this is such a short get-together we're having. And I've mentioned some other songs that you can actually play with 3 chords as well. So let me demonstrate that for you. So, Home on the Range. I can play that in a fancy way or a simple way. So, wave your hands at me if you heard any melody notes in that mess I just played. Did you hear some of the melody of Home on the Range? So the thing is, you got to find your melody notes if you're going to do that within your chords. We don't have to start there, but I just want to, that's a preview. We can start with just playing our straight ahead 3 chords. So you should have, most people have the key of C. With C, play me a C, or play yourself a C. F, that should be under your index finger. It may be backwards from me if you're playing a right-handed harp. And G. Now, you very well may have sevenths, and oftentimes you can substitute a seventh, especially for your 5, your 5/7 here, which is up here. So, for Home on the Range, let's scroll down a little bit and look at a simple version of Home on the Range. Now, if you've never played the Autoharp before, you can start out, just explore your harp from bass to treble and give it a try. We all like to sing with our instruments. Oh, give me a home, oops, and play the right notes. A home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. You can play the whole song like that. And you can play lots of other songs like that too, as I just pointed out. For instance, in the village, white village, the lion sleeps tonight. You don't have to do a fancy strum. You can just sort of explore. Will the circle be unbroken? You can just do a heavy strum like you might want to do with a guitar. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by? 3 chords are magical. So here's Home on the Range with 3 chords. You only need 3 chords. If anybody who is revealing themselves to me, wave at me if you're only comfortable with playing 3 chords at a time in a song. Wave at me. This is a good thing to introduce your friends to. If you're way past this, you know, it's a good thing to start people with. And doing just simple strums. There's only 2 things you can do with your hands with your picks, my friends. You can strum one direction with your thumb, the other direction with your fingers. Honestly, you can strum in both directions, but we're not going to talk about that right now. It's a little bit trickier. And pinch. That's the only other thing you can do. You can practice a new song just with one of those motions. You can say, let's look at Home on the Range again, if you can see it. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. And then you can damp by pressing down a couple of chords. You can stop your sound immediately. Now, let's say that's where you're going to start. You layer things after that, right? Get used to this motion because that's what we do when we strum back and forth. You can wave your hands. Those of you playing along at home who don't have an auto harp, just wave your hand at me. You know, this is the motion, your thumb and your fingers. So I'm going a little bit faster, but you could do it half time if you wanted to practice. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. You can play it in 4 if you want, but I suggest you play a song that you know so you can keep an even rhythm, 'cause it's going to work better for you that way. Okay? So let's say that you're all bored now with those 3 chords. Who's bored with 3 chords? I'm bored with 3 chords. Most of you, if you have a factory harp or if you have a luthier auto harp, you're going to have some sevenths. And you don't need all the sevenths. You need the ones for whatever keys you mostly play in. Now, in this particular song, we can substitute some sevenths in very nicely. And it's going to get to be more interesting. Ooh, look at this version of it. Do y'all see? I'm going to highlight a little bit. You see how I've changed the chords? Y'all see that? Now, if I look at my harp, I've just got a little square, right? My middle finger is going to go from C to A minor. My index finger can go from F to D minor. I can make little squares. If your hand is weak and you don't want to finger it correctly, just move your hand. Play slow enough so you can move your whole hand. There's no rules for auto harp. Everybody plays it differently. But if I were going to tell you the right way, anchor that middle finger, be mean to your song, sorry, and anchor that middle finger. Now, a lot of songs make this kind of a pattern. I'm going to play for you. Please play along at home if you want. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. See what I did there? I went from C to C7. Then I came over to my F, my 4 chord. It's not as dominant as the dominant, it's the subdominant. It's going to lead back to the dominant eventually. We started at home, stayed close to home, we came over here out on the porch, we're going to go in the front yard, and we're going to work our way back to home. I'm going to play the first 2 lines of this song. Please join me if you want. I'm just going to, let's see. I'm doing a pinch on 1 and then just a strum me, pinch, strum me, keep it simple. Or do whatever you want because we can't hear you. Pinch, strum me, go. And, oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope. Oops, I'm sorry. There's a mistake there. That should be D minor. That shouldn't be. You can play D or D minor there. Let's just do D minor because it's closer. Deer and the antelope play. You could also say deer and the antelope play. So, did you see me not following my fingering rules there? I came way over here to this D, and so I picked my whole hand up and moved it over. That's partly why I color code my keys. And I like to be able to move across both my string bed and my chords. So the fun thing about this pattern, I'm going to play it through again. I'm going to play through the whole pattern now, all 4 lines, the way it's actually written with the D major instead of the D minor. Play along with me if you like. Here we go. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. Keep going, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. We've made a little circle, a little square. We, in general, stayed close to home. We went a little bit further away from home, went in a little square all around our C. We went and then when we went back to that dominant, the G, it wants to lead to home. G, G7. It really wants to come back home. The fun thing about this chord progression I'm showing you is you can use this for a million songs. And you can take those 3 chord songs and apply this to them. For instance, you could say, I'm going to switch my own thing. Let's see. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. I added a suspension in there. My suspension that led to D and then to G. So I can play Desperado and Home on the Range with the same chord progression. And I can impose that chord progression on some of the other songs I listed for you. Keep in mind with an auto harp, you don't have everything. You don't have to have everything. You can substitute some chords using your ear or looking up on guitar, guitar, whatever it is. There's a service that you can just type a song in and Google, say chords. You'll get somebody's version of the chord progression. Change it. Now, what if I wanted to play Home on the Range or Desperado or something in a different key? I'm going to pick up my mean finger and I'm going to move it over one to G. Now I can play in G. Home on the Range. Now, I can read it off this same music and just pretend, because all I did was move my hand over. That's why you want this arrangement of your chords. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. And as you may see, I don't always finger correctly myself. It's okay. Sometimes I pick up my whole hand. Now, let's do the other big subject. I'm going to give you a year of lessons here in 20 minutes, basically. There's a couple of different ways that I've listed for you to play the melody of Home on the Range. Please do not be afraid of playing melodies. It's not that difficult. Give it a try. You just have to find the melody note in your chords. So what do you want to play melodies on? 3-chord songs. It'll be easier for you to find it. Can somebody give me jazz hands if you see I'm highlighting my chords over the words? This is a very easy way to do a lead sheet. Who sees it? Good job. Thank you. So this is an easy way to see a lead sheet. You'll see other people do it this way. Find that melody note in the chord you're playing and find it in your string bed. Try to make it sing out. Oh, I'm looking for oh. Oh, give me a, you hear it? Home, where the buffalo roam. Now if I just change to D minor now, guess what? D minor is the relative major. I've still got my melody note there. Roam, and it can just sing out. So skipping ahead to the fun way of doing this, I mean, you can start out and say, oh, sorry. It's actually a little harder to do if you only give yourself those 3 chords, but you can do it. If you go around your circle, go a little further away from home, go in the backyard, go in the front yard, go down the street, you can still find your melody notes or something close enough for jazz, basically, close enough for folk, to be able to play something that sounds like the melody as best as you can. So I'm going to demonstrate that. And I can play it as a fandango if I want to. I can strum like this. I can pull all my fingers towards me and do something more interesting. I can do that, whatever I want, and the melody notes can sing out depending on where I move my hand on the string bed. More plucks means clearer notes. It's a little harder to drive your thumb in there and get those or your fingers and get the melody. If you want the melody to be clear, I would suggest you try plucking, especially small plucking. Okay, so let's see. Oh, give me, boy, my voice doesn't want to be low right now. Oh, give me a home. Or get it out of the 7th. It's going to sound better. Oh, give me a home. You can also get it, we have 5 minutes left. We can also get it out of the C7. Oh, give me a home. Now we're going to fudge a little bit and fool people's ears and get right over to the F. Where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play. I had a couple of chosen to get that melody note out of. The more stuff you do with your strumming and your plucking, the more you can fool everybody's ears and they will hear the melody. Does that make sense? quickly, so I'm raising the chances I'm going to hit the melody notes for you. Can I see some jazz hands if anybody heard the melody? Anybody hear the melody? Cool. It's harder when you do it the slow way and you're painfully picking it out, but please practice that way. Please try to play a 5-note scale and a full, 8-note scale. Please experiment with that. You can find it. Let's get your mean finger on your tonic. And you can strum if you want. Or pluck. You hear it? So I went middle finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, middle finger, back to index finger, ring finger, middle finger. And you can damp very, yay! And you can damp in a very dramatic way. That didn't come out very dramatic because my hand slipped. So this is pretty easy. Now I'm going to unshare the stuff I was sharing because we've got only 3 minutes. What I have is more information here because it's very hard in a half-hour workshop. But this information, please don't be afraid of this extra information. It's not that scary. And the point of the Autoharp is, if it's laid out in the Brian Bowers layout, you can, with your ear, move around, explore, and use these same chords for whatever songs that you want. Play them in the key. You can sing it if you want to accompany yourself. Look at how it's right in front of me. We can sit and play. We can stand and play. If we have, make sure we have the keys that our friends want to play in, we can play with our friends. Or if we don't have any friends or our friends will adjust to us, we can have the chords that we like to sing in. Very adjustable, wonderful instrument. I don't know if any, I think that we have, I think if you wanted to, you could type me a question or a comment. Does anybody have a question or a comment?
There is a way to raise your hand electronically through Zoom. If you go to the participants menu, and the bottom left-hand corner is a little raise hand, or you can.
There you go. Remember that
I'll,
because you'll be doing that in other workshops.
right now, I'll look for a raised hand if there is, and I can unmute you.
Okay. And while you're
I'm
doing
not
that,
seeing one, so
okay. So please go to my website tomorrow. I did not have a chance to post this information for you, but I will post links. I will post my quick music theory lesson. Please don't be afraid of music theory. The Autoharp will teach you music theory. And then, use your mean finger on your home key and play Desperado with the keys that actually go to home on the range. Desperado. I'll play you out here for 1 minute or 30 seconds, I guess. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. Okay, go get yourself an Autoharp if you don't have one. And that's it. I don't want to start into another thing because somebody else is already trying to get set up for theirs, right?
okay. Well, thank you so
Somebody else
much.
coming in? All right. So please stay for the next one and please go to everything you can today. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for everything.
Thank
And
you,
have an
Michelle.
excellent day, everybody.
Likewise.